Yeah, so can you go in a little bit more depth of what your fitness and nutrition approach was when you started this transformation?
Yeah, so like I said, in the very beginning, it was very basic. Work out with me. We were doing whatever, bro splits
Hmm.
and eat a lot. So it, at the time, I had a 9 to 5 job. You can ask anybody who worked with me. I was constantly in the back room making peanut butter sandwiches. Um, if I wasn't working, I was eating, and I was just stuffing my face as much as possible. And that was enough to get the scale moving. Now, at a certain point, because I wasn't tracking, that weight gain stalled. And so I won't get into all the details, but eventually I came up with what I call the ballpark method. And the ballpark method is a very basic strategy that I recommend to all skinny guys who are beginners. And that is you take your body weight, you multiply it by 20. And the reason we choose 20 is simply because it's going to be a hefty enough surplus for you to gain weight immediately. Um, Another reason is because when you're eating that many calories, it's hard not to get your protein, carbs, fats, and all your vitamins and minerals from your diet, even when you're not tracking for specific macros. So if you are, I don't know, 125 pounds and you're eating whatever that equates to be 2,500 calories or so, chances are you're going to get enough protein, fats, and carbs just from hitting that amount of total calories. And so it also eliminates a lot of the stress or overwhelm that a lot of guys get in the beginning. They already have to go to the gym 3, 4 days a week. And then on top of that, they have to figure out their maintenance. They have to weigh food, calculate it in an app. And so this strategy eliminates all of that. All you got to do is look at what you're eating, calculate the total calories of that meal, and subtract it from your total. Do that for every meal until you hit zero, and boom, you're done. And the great thing is that you don't have to be super accurate. You just got to be consistent. And
Hmm.
as long as you're doing that, you're going to get enough calories, you're hitting enough protein, fats, and carbs. And as long as you're progressing in the gym, you're going to grow. So I think it takes a lot of the, again, overwhelm off of the newbie trainer who doesn't necessarily even know what a macronutrient is.
Hmm. I actually love that idea, and I've never even heard of that before. So I'm glad you spoke about that. It's it's kind of funny because I really think with a beginner, simple is better. Because what happens when you get discouraged? You don't want to go to the gym anymore, and then you're missing your workouts, and then you don't get the results. So that ballpark method is pretty simple, and I love it. So you were using this ballpark method until you became like a quote unquote intermediate.
Yeah, and then I was just at the point where, and that's why the ballpark method is more so for a beginner, because the beginner is hyper responsive to training. So he can gain a lot more muscle than an intermediate trainee, and so he can afford to be in a heftier surplus.
Hmm.
When you become an intermediate or advanced, you got to be a little bit more calculated. You don't want to gain the same amount of weight. You don't want to be in as large of a surplus because you can't gain as much muscle mass. And so, as an intermediate, you have to be a little bit more calculated or meticulous with your macronutrient intake.